about properties of exponents. We're going to multiply numbers together that have exponents and add them and subtract them. And you need to pay attention. It is a rule that we have, and then we go from there. To do that, though, we first need to have some terminology. A monomial. So a monomial is a real number. An example of a real number would be 4. Or -4. Okay? It's a real number or a variable. Oh my gosh, I cannot spell. Or a product. What's product mean? What's product mean? What operation? That would be some.
Multiplication.
So this is multiplication. You did. Is variable spelled right? Variable. I don't know.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So it is a real number or it is a variable. So x. Okay. Or it is a product of them, like 4 times x, right? So a product would, an example would be 4 times x. Okay? Good? So it's important that we know what a monomial is when we're talking. It's also important that we know what an exponent is and how to write it. So an exponent is this little number here. Notice that it is raised up and it is smaller. If it is not raised up and smaller, it is not an exponent. Our exponent tells us what? This is called our base. Our exponent tells us what? So what are we going to do 4 times? How many bases is it? How many times I'm going to multiply 3
4 times.
by 3? Okay? So this is how many times I multiply. The base. And my base is the number being multiplied. Lily, step up. Okay? So my base is the number being multiplied. And my exponent is how many times I'm multiplying it. That answer is not 12. That doesn't say 3 times 4. It says 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, which is equal to 81. Okay? 81 and 12 are very different. The number one mistake that you guys make is by when you simplify that, you write 12.
Yeah, I would.
Okay? So it's important that you understand what a base is, what an exponent is, because if you don't, you're going to do this all wrong.
I'm sorry.
Okay? All right, so these are jacked up on yours. They're all shifted over here. But if you would pay attention up here, c to the 7th, what's my base? C. What's my exponent? 7. If I were going to write that out to figure out my answer, how many C's am I going to have? 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay?
Okay.
What is my base for number 2?
3. 4. Wait, I'm on the wrong one.
I told you it's jacked up, so look at that for number 2.
Oh.
What's my
Oh,
base?
and it's all up.
Three.
Got that one.
4x.
Oh.
You do have that one, it's above the first block. So this one here,
I was like, look.
what's my base?
4x.
4x. Why is it not x?
Why would it be x?
Because x is where the exponent is.
4x.
Why isn't it x?
Because it's not by itself.
Okay, why else?
Because it's, I don't know.
So 4x is my base. I'm gonna change that one. Cross that one out. What's my exponent? 4, which means I'm doing what?
4x, right?
4x.
4x times 4. 4x times 4x times 4x times 4x.
Okay, good. What about that? What's my base for that one? Heavenly thinks it's 4 and x. Does anybody have a different opinion?
I think it's the exact same thing.
I
Wait,
mean,
you asked the question again?
What is my base in that one, in number 3, that I just changed it to? So my base is the number, my base is the item that the exponent is attached to.
I think it's 4.
You think it's 4x as well?
Yeah.
Aisha, what do you think?
It's 4x.
4x? What do you think, Yadira? You think it's x? Sarah, what do you think? 4x. Elijah, what do you think? What is my base for this new problem that I wrote? 4 times x to the 4th.
Oh. So if you're saying it that way, now it sounds different.
Why?
You said 4 times x to the 4th power.
Well, this is 4 times x to the 4th power.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's the exact same thing. 4.
So here, look here. This is what you guys screw up. What is the x? What is the 4 attached to? X. Just x. My exponent is 4. So this is going to be 4 times x times x times x times x.
Why can't you put the 4? 4 times x. Yeah,
I was just going to ask that question. What's different between 2 and 3? Right. 2 has parentheses around it. These parentheses make this 4 attached to all of this. The fact that I don't have parentheses here, makes that 4 just attached to the x. Do you see that? So if that's true, what's my base for number 4? X and y. So I have x and I have y. What's my exponent for my x? What's my exponent for my y? I write that out in expanded form. What am I going to write? X times x, because there's 2 of them.
Plus, it'd be plus.
Not plus, it's all multiplication.
So it'd be x plus x times y times y times y times y times y.
Good. So it's important that you know that these 2 are different. It's important that you know that those 2 are different. And if you don't realize that, you're going to be very, very, very confused once we get to our rules. Okay? The exponent is only attached to what it's attached to. If there happens to be a number in front of it, great. But that number is just multiplied by the exponent. So I'm actually going to change that on our notes for next year. Okay? Very, very important distinction. So now, if I look at this problem, product of powers, I'm going to look at this in 2 different ways. I'm going to write this out in expanded form, and then we're going to learn a rule to make it really fast and easy. Okay? If that look like?
3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Yeah.
Yep. What's 3 to the third gonna look like?
3 times 3 times 3.
What's happening in between them?
They're multiplying.
They're multiplying. So if I rewrote that, I would do 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. How many 3's do I have there? 7.
7.
So I can rewrite it as 3 times 3 to the 7th power. And then in my calculator, I can do that. So it's 3. You should have a button that looks like this. Or you should have a button that looks like that. Or you should have a button that looks like that. And then you would put the 7, 7, 7, and then the equal sign. What's your question, Nadia?
That don't make sense right there.
What doesn't make sense right there?
So that's supposed to be the answer for that?
Nope, we still have to go one step further. 3 times 9.
I mean, 3 times 3.
Nope. Nope. Your base is 3. My base doesn't change. Slow down. I'll explain that in a second. Give me one more slide. Okay? So I have 7 3's. So I have 3 to the 7th power. So when I do this on my calculator, what do I have? Big number.
187.
2187. If I skip down and not write the expanded form, my base is 2. What are my numbers going to be?
2 times 2.
Right? If I write them all out, but I skip that step.
Yes.
What did I do with these two numbers to get the 7?
Yeah.
Add them. So what's 2 plus 4? 6. You see that?
Yeah,
Because I
4
did
plus 2 is
2
6.
times 4 plus 2.
4 plus 2 is 6.
And what's 2 to the 6th power? Do the same thing.
64.
Right, we don't have to do that because we've got a rule. And here's what our rule is. You got all that written down? And I will. It will make sense in a second. In a second.
And you have to do it.
Do you want to do this every time? Do you want to do that all the time?
No, but where did you get the power?
And then count them up?
You want to do?
I don't want to do that all the time. Okay, so here's my rule. If I have the same base, if it's a number or a variable, if I have the same base, and they are raised to an exponent, I can write down the base, which would be 3 in the first case, 2 in the next case, and then I can add those together and get an answer. Okay? The base stays the same. The base stays the same all the time. Okay? So what does that look like in some examples? All right, you're always going to ask, what is my base? Maybe 5 minutes.
What?
Maybe less. What's my base in number 1? N. What am I going to do with my 3 plus my 5? Add. 3 plus 5. So this is n to the 8th power. Do I have any other math that I have to do? No. Okay? Can I just get through example 2 and 3 and then you may use the bathroom? Because that's all I have. Now, I am multiplying these. So what am I going to do with my 6 and my 2? Is 12. Then I'm going to write my base. What am I going to do with my exponents? Add them. So I get 12x to the 5th. If this step helps you initially, do that step. If you can do it without having to write that step, then you may skip it. Okay? So if there's numbers there, you're going to multiply. You're going to you write down your base, add your things together. Okay? If they're not in the same order in each of the monomials, you're still going to multiply same base by same base. Sometimes they won't be in the same order, like in your worksheets. A couple of them.
Okay, so this one,
Positive or negative?
positive.
R to the what?
6 pounds.
X to the what?
X to the 4th power, and T to the 4th power. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So now, here's my question. Here's my question. Or my comment. Start with the one on the left and go, okay, there's a number. Is there another number over here? And do that. Okay? Then look at your R's. All of these are separate entities. So each of them are separate. Deal with each one of them separately. And go all the way across until you have dealt with all of the exponents. Okay? We simply wrote this R down because that was the next thing. And then we wrote the X down because that was the next thing. And then we wrote the T down because that was the next thing. If there was another variable in here, I would write it down. If there wasn't one over here, it would just be the same as what it is over here. Okay? Good? Let me give you your worksheet, please. What's your question?
How did you get the 4s on that side? I don't understand how you, or the 6. Do you do the 6 by going 3 times 2?
I did R. Here I have a 1. There's a 1 here.
Oh.
Plus my 5. I've got a 1 here plus my 5. And then for my X,
Okay, so that's 6.
I had 2 in the first one and 2 in the second one.
And then the 3, and then the variable by the T would be a 1, and that's how you got 4 too. Okay, so it's basically because the variable's by itself. So it's a 1. And then go let it
If it's by itself, there's a 1 there. Yep, because if it wasn't there,
but we're
if it was 0, it wouldn't be there, right? But because it's there, there has to be at least one of them. Okay? Just like in the front of there, there's also a 1, right? Okay?
Yeah.
Questions?
You do it as the outro of the video. I'm gonna tell you that. That concludes your notes, guys.
That concludes your notes.
Yeah, that's how. Yeah.